absolute best.
Yeah, they had us the first half, I'm not going to lie.
Oh, could be Wayne!
I think I got my swagger back. Oh!
I love it, baby!
Them orange britches. Something about them orange britches.
Tennessee wins! Brought us by Tennessee, Jawan Jennings. Jennings makes the catch.
Ball hit high in the air into right field. Going back is Sayre. And Tennessee can say hello, win column. A grand slam in the bottom of the ninth. You can't draw it up any better.
We just won a basketball game, and we're very happy right now. McGrath for the win. He got it. If you don't like college football and you watch this one, I'm not sure what your problem is.
Read it, did to do, and welcome into More Important Issues. It is Thursday, May 4th. It's a good time to be a Vol. Big weekend heading down to Athens. We're going to talk some baseball. Also, I mean, I know we're not a part of it. We kind of called it, but we weren't a part of the hype. But we will take any opportunity we can to talk about football, and even if it's the dumb things that happen in the offseason, we will take the opportunities to do that because that is who we are. We are opportunistic, and we love it. I mean, we love anything and everything.
And content don't sleep.
Yeah, absolutely. Content doesn't sleep. Neither do Brad Bohan's bets. So we're going to talk about it all. I'm excited to get into the show. We've also got a great interview with Ben Mckee. Going to get tons of information about the Tennessee Vols, not just what's happened this season, but also kind of what to look forward to, and maybe even might get some hints in next season too. So make sure you stay in for that. It's a great episode with him.
Breaking news, got to recruit while we're on the show.
Yes. Good point.
Yeah.
And then we get to hear about, we're going to hear about the great Pop-Tart debate.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned it, biggest story in college baseball. Exciting time, like I said, with Tennessee baseball. We're gonna go football first, but I just this is you kind of get your chance. Like you've had the chance. Sweep over Vanderbilt was a good right the ship moment for Tennessee baseball, with a lot of questions surrounding how can Tennessee play on the road away from Lindsey Nelson Stadium. 1-9 right now. Obviously, hosting a regional still in question, but also super regional is almost it's almost done and gone. We talked about that window getting tighter. You got through the window, but maybe not enough time to host a super regional. But maybe it's possible.
Yeah, you keep sweeping. I mean,
right?
Who knows?
Can't deny you. But at the same time, it's like, hey, go right the ship about your road record this weekend, and let those questions kind of fade as you go to Hoover, and then as you have the potential to play away in a regional and super regional, and then maybe make it to Omaha and play away from Lindsey Nelson. Let all that fade. Go right the ship in a different way this weekend. It's a great opportunity to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, if you got any questions, drop those in the chat, or if you just want to comment, roast on Caleb, not me, you can do that as well. So drop those in the chat. We'll be keeping an eye on that. And then,
you better come with some heat. I will respond. I've been watching a lot of crowd work stand-ups, so I think I'm ready.
Okay.
Don't have a profile picture.
Gotcha. That's awesome.
All right. Before we get into the meat of the show, I do want to mention our good friends over at Underdog Collectible. Underdog is Knoxville's best sports collectible store with a wide selection of UT cards, autographs, and memorabilia. Whether you're looking for a Peyton Manning autographed helmet or the most recent Topps baseball card release, you'll find it at Underdog. The shop is owned by UT graduates and proudly supports UT sports by hosting NIL events throughout the year. Stop by the University Commons Shopping Center next to Publix and Domino's to check them out. They're open 6 days a week with live YouTube shows 3 nights per week. Remember to always bet on the Underdog. Shout out to Underdog. I'm slacking. I'm gonna do a baseball card break soon. I'm gonna stop saying it. I'm just gonna do it, but it's coming. It is certainly coming.
Yeah, and they also had a big night tonight. They had Dylan Sampson, Squirrel White in shop to sign some autographs. So if you got a chance to do that, awesome. If you didn't, there'll be more.
Yeah, make sure you're following along on those social media. Follow us. We'll definitely retweet that, but hit that follow button on them. Don't miss it, just in case.
Yeah, turn on our YouTube channel too, since we're just shouting out things. It's kind of slacking, so if you could subscribe, that'd be cool too. You can watch us on there also. It's not different content, but it's still content.
It might be. I mean, maybe one day.
Yeah.
Maybe. Don't miss it.
Yeah, you'll miss it if you don't subscribe.
Those like 40 subscribers we have are hanging on for the day we decide that we're YouTubing. So
yeah,
don't not be one of those 40 plus people. Become number 41 tonight. You can be number 41
on the tube.
Shout out to Austin White, always on the YouTube. Not tonight. He would have told us in the chat. So that's disappointing. You think with all the stuff, with Alabama, he'd be in here. It kind of seems like the heat of the offseason's gone away from Kentucky. Last year it was football school, basketball school. What's going on today? Hunter Dickinson, a lot of people were confident he'd be committing. Turns out, I don't know if Cal's just not a good what a good appetizer order person is. Like, you don't want someone ordering appetizers who's like, yeah, just chicken tenders for the table. No, if I want chicken tenders, I'll order chicken tenders. It sounds like he's not a good app order.
Triple C's, Cal can't close.
Nice, I like that. That's a new thing. Sure. For confirming that.
Yeah. We getting to Joe first, or we getting Alabama baseball?
We're gonna let's talk Joe Milton.
Okay.
So what's funny about this is when all this happened, I don't know, 2 weeks ago before the draft, we were like, dude, if this Anthony Richardson hype is real, because we know why it's real. Like the intangibles, like it's how can you not watch some guys run 40s and be like, yeah, I want them on my football team? Or we went to high school with a kid who never played a down. I think he was on the team for like one season. He was humongous, and I think he had knee injuries and just never played. And he was 6'7", 300 something pounds. He would get letters every day from schools, like, "Hey, come to our camp." Like, just like even that shows that, hey, if your roster shows how big you are, like, people are going to want you. Then you can watch him throw it out of the building, almost literally. Like all this, like. Of course, I get it, but we said it. If that's what's being said and done about Anthony Richardson, same thing's going to happen with Joe Milton, and now it's already started.
Yeah, and you put that together with the offense and obviously the intangibles, obviously the arm strength, but like quarterbacks have success in this offense,
right?
And Hooker didn't do much at Virginia Tech, and came in here and didn't look great in the spring, and then he showed out and was in the Heisman race for the majority of last season. And so you have that, and then you have his small sample size in the Orange Bowl, the Vanderbilt game, and just garbage time. He got through almost for 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns, no interceptions. Like you have to think like there's some sort of success there.
Right.
But like the main thing that I think is the only reason why we're even talking about this is because Anthony Richardson and Will Levis didn't have hardly any success. They didn't really have success. They didn't have great years. And Anthony Richardson went number 4. And Will Levis was projected to go probably that high the majority of the offseason.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. All the way up until draft day. Very weird what happened with him. I'm kind of
like good for him because
for sure.
Yeah, there's not those expectations aren't on here. Anthony Richardson, yikes.
Yeah, that it is all going to be interesting. But it's also not a new thing. I say it every year, and I get it. It's hard again not to look at guys like that and think, oh, what could be. But Sam Darnold went what, second, third? Was he third in that draft?
Yeah.
Like that, absurd. And sure, you can sit here and say, he's not as terrible.
He had a great freshman year.
He wasn't as terrible as he was, I guess, later in college, but he's also not been a first round draft pick or even close to it. Mm-hmm. So, that's the case every year. What did Josh Rosen go? Was he like 15? He was high first round, but I can't remember.
Yeah, something like that. Like
Josh Rosen had no business. He has not panned out at all. But yeah, so it's just always going to happen. I did pull up Anthony Richardson's 2022 stats just to. Okay, so also this is all kind of now the media who has hyped Joe Milton has now turned around and go, wait, are we overhyping him? Or they're calling him overhyped without making it clear that they're the ones doing
Josh Rosen went 10th.
10th? Okay.
Yeah.
I knew it was high. So yeah, the media that hyped him is now saying he's overhyped, but fails to recognize that they overhyped him. But that's beside the point. So compared to Anthony Richardson, who went 4th overall, he had in 2022 a 53.8% completion rating. He threw for 2,500 yards, 17 TDs, and 9 interceptions. Joe Milton in 2 starts in garbage time, like not trying to frame it any differently. It's just what the stats say. 64.6% completion rating. I can't talk. 971 yards, 10 TDs, 0 interceptions. So I mean, it's like
also Anthony Richardson threw the ball 327 times. Joe Milton threw it 82 times.
Right, and also we talked about it. Like Tennessee games, obviously going to make Anthony Richardson look good. I mean, he's still 54.5% completion. He threw for 453 yards, 2 TDs, 1 interception, rushed for 62 yards, 2 TDs. I mean, that game did make him look like an all-star, but let's not act like they didn't try to throw the ball everywhere. And also, if they don't go forward on 4th down, was it 5 times? That game's a completely different ball game. LSU even tried to do something like that. Game happens one time. That game never happens again if Tennessee and Florida play it back. LSU tried to replicate it and just got absolutely demoralized early in the game. So it just doesn't happen. Credit to Billy Napier for having the nuts to say, hey, we're not as good as this football team. Let's be weird. They went full that private school from Arkansas, and he tried to coach at a school in South Carolina in college. And, they never punt. They only onside kick, only go for 2. I mean, he went full weirdo mode, and I kind of respect it, but let's not pretend those stats are the same if they aren't weird that game.
Yeah.
We're pointing out 2 starts for Joe Milton, so let's point out. Let's be fair to Anthony Richardson too.
Yeah, I'm just like, I wasn't in on the hype. I mean, I do think like he is set up for success. I think he's good wide receivers. I think this offense is going to help him out, and he's also like an easy guy to cheer for. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Like, I mean, he stuck it out, lost the job. Or got hurt, but lost a job in that as well. And stuck around, and now it's his team. And so, like, you're going into this offseason, again, knowing who your guy is. There's not really quarterback competition. No offense to Nico, but Joe Milton's your quarterback.
But kind of like Will Levis, like that's kind of good for Nico, I think. Like you don't want to be the guy day one. That's a lot of pressure. We'll talk about with the baseball team. Like it's different pressure, man. Mm-hmm. And so to kind of get the chance to learn, especially if Joe's great, like the chance to learn behind him, if that's the case, like that's best case scenario.
Well, I did see something today. It was like he's overhyped because he lost the job. Are we just going to forget Will Levis didn't win?
What does that mean? He's overhyped because he lost the job?
Like they said he couldn't win the quarterback battle in college. Well, neither did Will Levis until he got to Kentucky. Sean Clifford beat him out. I mean, Hendon Hooker was a Heisman candidate, okay?
Anthony Richardson never really won the job at Florida. He got it kind of by default because there wasn't a quarterback ahead of him.
That was it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they don't have a quarterback right now since he's left. Oh, they haven't even been able to replace him. No, I think, like you said, it's easy to root for him. I definitely going into the Orange Bowl, and there's still questions for me. I mean, you can't not question his accuracy and consistency. He's only started 2 games since, like you said, losing the starting job. Accuracy's still got to be a question because it's such a small sample size. I think he's put, for me, a lot of those questions at ease. Like, I feel more comfortable, but I can't lie and say it's not there. He's still got to be willing to tuck it and run at times. He wants to throw the ball, and I don't blame him. He's a quarterback. Why would you not want to? And he can. If I could throw it as far as him, like you had that video of him throwing an orange. I would throw every object known to man, just to see how far because I can. Yeah, it's like for me, like kicking a soccer ball. Like I'm pretty good at it. So any chance I get to kick anything, like I'm gonna show it off. Like let's do it. But yeah, I would do that too. But yeah, I mean, I think he's got to be willing to kind of make plays with his feet. He seemed to be better at moving around with the pocket, even though he was shy about tucking it and running. I don't know if that's a fair assessment, but it was also, again, he was playing not great teams a lot of the time he was in. Yeah. Even Vanderbilt. And Vanderbilt was a weird game, and he still played well. Not great, but well.
Mm-hmm. But I mean that Clemson defense, that's a legit like top defense, right. And he 3 touchdowns, 200 and something yards. He was 9 for
against Clemson, 19 to 28. It's almost a 68% completion rate. 251 yards, 3 TDs, 0 interceptions. I think he rushed twice for like 11 yards, something like that.
Yeah, I mean he picked them apart. That's a really good defense that he did that against. So I just think the hype is here because if he can have any bit of consistency, he should be a first-round draft pick. Knowing
Yeah,
what
I
we
absolutely
knew
agree.
this year, what happened with Anthony Richardson and Will Levis, he should be a first-round
We
draft pick.
we said, I mean, we called the shot before that mock draft thing came out that people tried to, again, done by the media, and they can say, yeah, they've talked to GMs and scouts and blah blah blah. This is what they've said, but you made it. Like, you still said they didn't give you a number. They don't know what the draft order is. You did it, but we said it before the draft. That mock thing came out on Monday or Tuesday. Like, yeah, if they liked Will Levis and Anthony Richardson that much, they're going to love Joe Milton.
Oh yeah,
Like,
100%. Arm strength.
look at him in pads. I mean, he is a freak. He is first off the bus guy.
And he slimmed down last season.
Yeah, still a massive human
Right.
being.
And can throw it a mile.
Literally.
Yeah, I mean, they want to talk about Will Levis's arm strength. Bro, he can't do. You can't even compare the two.
Right. I did. It was funny, like, watching back in the 2021 season, watching Will Levis. I'm like, I mean, if I'm a GM, if I'm the Titans that drafted him, just act like he didn't play in 2022. Only show that because, I mean, he does look more athletic, a lot more athletic.
Yeah.
Well, listen, we've got a Kentucky fan we're friends with. I'll let him use the injury as a thing. That's fine with me.
I mean, I do think he fell into a little bit bad. I don't think it's a terrible situation because, like, the Titans can prove that they can make the playoffs. They're in a shitty division too, so that helps. But I do think, like, they aren't dependent on Will Levis because they still have Ryan Tannehill. But the Colts, who they got? I think it's Anthony Richardson day one.
It got to be. Well, first, you don't draft a guy there to not be day
Right.
one. So, I mean, but yeah, it's got to be. You're right.
Yeah. So, and
anyways, buy into the hype. I you know me, neg of all Caleb.
Mhm.
It's been said many times on this podcast,
sure.
not by me. Print it. Give us the hype. Joe Milton is going to throw so many touchdowns in Nashville that the 3 Vanderbilt fans left are gonna have to stop by the team store set up outside Nissan Stadium and change their gear out. So the West End is officially crumbling.
You want to see how impressive his arm strength is? He literally, like, throws a downfield ball to Squirrel White, and he's wide open, but Squirrel White always falls down because it's like dropping it out of a helicopter. It just, like, brings him to the ground.
Do you remember that video of Tyler Bray throwing it off the Jumbotron to, I think it was Cordero Patterson? You remember that video?
Yeah, vaguely.
We need to see, first off, if Joe Milton can throw it out of the stadium, and bets are on. Not for you, Brad. Bets are on. I think he could do it. I mean, I think the line's got to be like minus 300 that he throws it out. I think he could throw a touchdown in the opposite end zone from the Jumbotron.
I wonder, like, where on the field he could throw it up to my seat.
Let's see. So 30 in the north, 30-yard line. That, I think that's a low number too, but I think 30 is guaranteed.
That'd be cool.
If he can step into it, and 30-yard line.
I'm definitely gonna break a bone. It's gonna like encave my chest.
Well, it's got to be like catching a punt too, like you said for Squirrel White, and but unlike a punt where you're square under it trying to find it, you're running. So, like, for you would probably have to. He might hit you on the money, but seeing it come at you, you're gonna have to, wobble around there, and you'd die.
Yeah, definitely.
I wonder if he's always, if he's been that guy. In high school and for punting practice, oftentimes they would just chuck a ball down there. I mean, he had to be better than his high school punter at doing that.
Well, I'm thinking when he plays golf, like, he's just a throw it guy. He can't. There's no way he can hit it as far as he can throw it.
I mean, I don't entirely disagree with that chance, but dude, throwing a golf ball is incredibly hard. I don't know if it's because it's so small. I don't know.
You see him throw it orange?
That's fair. To be fair, an orange is much bigger than a golf ball.
I know, but it's also probably lighter. You think it's lighter than a golf ball?
No.
You don't think so?
A well-grown Florida orange? Not a chance.
I'm talking like a cutie.
Yeah, that's a cutie. That's not an orange, Landon. Come on. Don't.
What is that, a tangerine?
I think, dude, it's not an orange.
I was going to say, I don't know.
It is not an orange. I know that.
Could have fooled me. It's not a peach.
It was a tangerine?
I
There's
feel like
no way.
tangerines are big.
It might have looked. Are they? I don't know what a tangerine is. If they're big, I don't know what a tangerine is.
I might be lying.
I think you are lying.
I have no clue.
You just
I
said
don't
they're
know the
small
difference.
to me.
And honestly, if you know the
Clearly.
difference, you're a nerd. So, like Joe's a nerd.
I think it is how big his hands are because again, he is a massive human being.
Yeah.
Absolutely massive. Buy into the hype though. However much it costs, buy into it. Call your friends in Cincinnati, have them place the bets for you. It's a go.
Were we keeping a tally how many jokes we can make about this?
Also, probably more.
I hope you're having a great day. If you're not, you're probably having a better day than the Alabama athletic department. So,
dude, they have no shame. They don't care.
Dude,
they don't. They're trying to figure out why they fired him. They have no idea what did he do wrong. He's been winning baseball games lately. That's what we hired him to do.
Yeah, I mean, wrong place, wrong time.
Oh, for sure. Also, don't use your school issued cell phone.
Hugh Freeze.
Good God. I mean, what? How much does a burner phone cost? I know, $25.
Oh yeah, you had one. I forgot about that.
I still have one currently.
I
took it to Vegas with me just in case someone lost their phone one night because I thought that was a good chance that someone would. So they had a backup phone so we would not lose them.
Oh, dude, if I lost my phone is like my lifeline. If I lost my phone like that, I'm shutting down all of Las Vegas until we find it.
Yeah, you're definitely worse than me, I think, when it comes to my phone, and I'm the same way. Yeah. So yeah, I'm with you, 100%. Let's talk some baseball real quick, and then we've got a good interview with Ben Mckee coming up. Obviously, Vol baseball, 8-game win streak. Get a trip to Athens, Georgia. Like I said, right the ship for those away games. Go take care of business. Obviously, big weekend with Mississippi State, but nice win over Watford, a team that's high in the RPI. I don't have their exact number.
They're top 50. Yeah.
Yeah, top 50. So, I mean, that, midweek games are normally, I don't know, maybe more important for the other team. And then obviously some young guys get in and see it, but also just a big win for Tennessee in terms of trying to climb that ladder of you want to host a regional at minimum. Like you want to be in Knoxville for that.
Yeah. And Wofford's a regional team. They're 32-11. So that was a big win to not only win, because you want to win all those midweek games. And right. You lost 2, so you definitely didn't want to drop this one. You end up ruling them in 7 innings. Really good offense, really good pitching. I thought Xander Sechrest and AJ Russell were phenomenal. AJ Russell took one for the team, took one off the hip, and still got the guy out. So you had guys laying it out on the line and get to that 8-game win streak and riding a high as you go into a Georgia series that's on the road, so you definitely want to rewrite. You want to get some wins in that win column because 1-9 on the road is not great. In terms of like when you're looking at seeding, like that, a lot of those people are going to look at that. So I think they have projected as being the number 2 seed in Indiana State's regional, which they would be the number 16, which I think that would mean Tennessee is right on the edge of hosting. So I think if they take care of business these next few weekends, Tennessee should be hosting. And, would you be a national seed? You want to get in that top 8? I don't know. I mean, you'd probably have to make it run in Hoover and probably beat South Carolina at South Carolina, which isn't easy to do.
Right.
But Tennessee's playing well right now. The pitching has done well. Hitting's come alive. 1 through 9. I think, we were mentioning on the bat flip, even Cal Stark, like the average doesn't look great, but he's battling, man. And he's good for a double every now and then. And he's moving runners over. And that's all you ask. You're not asking for a high average catcher. Those don't really exist. But he's battling. Like it seems like every county has it ends in 3-2 somehow, some way. So
right.
Love to see that. And Christian Scott, who's majority that 9-hole hitter. He's moved up a little bit here and there, but he's, I think, 3rd on the team in SEC play in average. I mean, he's killing the ball right now. So, and Christian Moore got going. He stayed hot throughout this weekend. You got Dylan Dreiling, who always seems to just make something happen when you need it. I mean, that 3-run home run, that was a freaking blast, a rocket.
Yeah, I think that's kind of comforting that even if the guys in the starting lineup can't do it, like there's guys you can go to.
Yeah.
And I mean, Vitello's shown he's not scared to shake up the starting lineup, not scared to bring guys in big moments and then them deliver. So at least of late deliver. So that's been huge. And I'm going back into Tennessee kind of fighting for something too. I mean, you're tied for fourth in the East right now. I don't know so I guess it's just overall, surely. When it goes, like, I don't even know why they haven't. I guess they have an East and West winner, but it doesn't matter for seeding, does it?
No.
It's just 1 through 12.
Yeah. Yeah, you just get the
Tennessee's
title that you win the division, but that's pretty much it.
I didn't know if they seeded if 1 and 2 got they essentially got the top 4. Because right now, I mean, you're looking at tied for fourth in the East. You still have to play Kentucky, who you're tied for. So you're right on their heels if you can go and win this weekend in either a series or sweep would obviously do you better. You're just a few games behind Florida, who's at A&M, I think, this week, and then next week they have Vandy. Kentucky's at South Carolina this weekend, so like this weekend's a huge weekend to make up ground in that sense. And you're ahead of the 3rd and 4th place teams in the West, and maybe the 5th place teams in the West. So that'll obviously change some too. But I mean, you have a chance to maybe. I don't know how it would have to work out. I need to go in and look for sure, but maybe not have to play that Tuesday single elimination game potentially.
Yeah.
Like that potential is still there, which would be, that would be big for, we were going to talk about it later and not stressing out your pitching staff.
Yeah. And a lot of this is, this win streak has really started once Cal has been the catcher and they've gotten Dickey out to left field. It's not the total difference in this team, but
it's a lot of things.
Yeah.
I mean, you also have them going to Andrew Lindsay.
Yeah. Yeah.
On Saturday night, your second night. So I mean, it's been a lot of just like it's had to feel like a puzzle for Vitello because as a coach, you kind of hope like one thing will tick and there it goes, like something you say in the locker room or at practice or moving one guy around and but yeah, it seemed to just like they've had to kind of chip away at the whatever quote unquote problem was.
Yeah, and this wouldn't be a more important issues podcast if we didn't mention Jared Dickey going 3 for 4 with 3 RBIs. I mean, just a pro,
the dude's a stud,
pro, and I think that's why you didn't want to play him at catcher. You wanted Charlie Taylor, or Cal Stark, or even Ryan Miller to just take that spot. And it looks like Cal Stark has taken that spot, and I mean Charlie Taylor did go 2 for 3. On Tuesday night. So he's got some competition. So hopefully Cal just picks it up, keeps it going. And, we're just riding this high right now.
1,000%.
Yep.
1,000%. All right. Anything else for baseball? I know we're about to talk about it a lot with Ben here.
Georgia sucks.
All right, we're gonna get Ben Mckee on the show. Make sure you guys follow him on all his socials. I don't have his @ in front of me. We'll tweet that out. But we appreciate Ben hopping on, and we'll see you guys back here in a minute. Welcome onto the show. Regular guest, officially. Second time on the podcast. He's from 247 Sports, Ben Mckee. He actually does it all. I don't even want to tag you to one place. I feel like you're all over. Formerly of the Swain event. Did he get –
Not formally anymore.
Is it back? Okay, I feel like I dreamt that because – I haven't. So I was about to say. I mean, did Swain get too cool for you? And like, what? Like, do we not like him anymore? You just tell me how to feel. I've got your back.
I hate Jason Swain. No, I'm kidding. No, the Swain event is kind of back. We're gonna do an hour on Tuesdays and Thursdays here, beginning next week. Actually, next Tuesday, May 9th. I guess that is. So every Tuesday and Thursday. I think we're doing 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. So just an hour each Tuesday and Thursday. So that's exciting. But don't tell Swain. But I hate him. I cannot stand him. I haven't liked him since he was playing. Honestly, I mean I didn't think he was very reliable. I thought it was disrespectful to Robert Meacham and Brett Smith and Chris Brown when they would throw the ball to him. So don't tell him I said that. But
and he was wearing number 1. You have to hate the guy wearing number 1.
Right. Absolutely. That's why it was so great to see Drew Gilbert have success and somebody could finally bring some validity to the number 1. Michael Pilardi did a great job there for several years. And good old Drew Gilbert these last couple of years really elevated the number 1.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Okay, I hate to go too tangenty here, but Michael Pilardi, what was his completion percentage? Was it 100%?
I guess so.
I feel like every time they ran a fake punt, he completed a pass. I don't know if he had any Pat McAfee moments, bad snaps, anything like that. So I need to do some research on that. I'd say it's pretty solid. Maybe best number 1 in Tennessee football history. I don't know.
Yeah, he might be. I know there's a guy, Leonard Little and Jason Witten and some of those in
Callaway,
there. But
not 100% completion percentage though. That's the take.
They probably don't have that.
Still has his NFL career going, so I think it all worked out for him regardless.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, definitely. We did want to get you on and talk baseball. We just got done though talking about the Joe Milton hype, so I did want to get your take on this. So you're obviously in the media, more seasoned than us. What do you think about the media creating the hype and then like 2 days later saying he's overhyped?
Yeah, it's an interesting conversation. My thought is a little off the rails, and I appreciate y'all having me on again.
Oh yeah,
I'm just trying to play catch up to Eric Kane. I mean, I'm just trying to be as great as Eric Kane out here, like everybody else, and trying to keep up with you all and y'all's great content as well. But my thought process goes to, why don't people understand why the Anthony Richardsons and the Will Levises and the Joe Miltons, people just still don't seem to understand why these guys are talked about so highly despite a lack of college football success. The NFL is not drafting these guys based off of what they accomplished in college. If they did that, Stetson Bennett would have gone number 1 overall this year. And Bryce Young and CJ Stroud would have followed Stetson Bennett. But they're drafting these guys off of potential and all the intangibles and the God-given abilities. And you look at Will Levis. I know he's a divisive topic these days, but and I would not have taken a top 5 pick, used a top 5 pick on him. Let's get that out of the way first. So I'm not trying to take up for Will Levis. But, like, the guy is really athletic. He can run around. He has great arm strength. I know Kentucky's offense was not good this past season, but it was a pro-style offense that translates to the NFL. And that's what the NFL teams are seeing, is they see the arm strength. They see the athletic ability, the toughness, and the fact that he did run a pro-style offense. And that's why he was drafted. I know he ended up going in the second round, and that is probably higher than most people would have pegged him to go, and probably fairly so, because he wasn't super dynamic in college in terms of production. But these teams are drafting off of potential and the arm strength and the athletic ability. That's why Anthony Richardson went top 5 overall, is because he can throw the football a country mile, and he can run around with the best of them, and he's just a freak of an athlete. And these pro teams, they look at these guys and think, oh, if we get them in our building, in our organization, we're going to get the best of the best out of them. We're going to coach them up to where they're going to be the next Josh Allen. That's what they see. Yeah. And Josh Allen was far more accomplished at Wyoming than those two guys. But they think that they're going to pull all of that out of them. And I kind of see the same thing with Joe Milton, is everybody sees the arm strength. Mm-hmm. And he's not necessarily the runner that Anthony Richardson or Will Levis is, but the athletic ability to extend plays and move around in the pocket, just the natural ability. Like, that's what NFL teams want. They want all of that potential and all that freakish stuff. And it just kind of baffles me that people still don't understand that at this point. It happens year in, year out in the NBA, the MLB, NFL, every draft. It's all about potential and all the freakish athletic stuff. That's what gets these guys drafted, not what Stetson Bennett accomplishes. So that's kind of where my thought process goes. But I also, like, to your question, is you can see a different guy in Joe Milton. I know it was a limited sample size, Vanderbilt and Clemson, just 2 games. But even going back to the garbage playing time, like early in the year and blowouts against directional schools. Like you could see the difference in Joe Milton throwing the football. He looked more like a passer than just a guy. He looked more like a quarterback, whereas year one, he didn't look like a quarterback. He just looked like an athletic freak that could throw the ball as far as he could. But this past season, even in mop-up duty against no-name teams, like you could see him putting touch on the ball, anticipating throws, throwing guys open. So he has a lot to prove this year, but you see the potential with him. So I think that's why he's getting hyped up on top of like the incredible arm strength, which makes teams fall in love with him.
Yeah, I think if it wasn't for Anthony Richardson and Will Levis going so early, or at least being projected to go so early, maybe this wouldn't be a topic. But he kind of fits that mold of those two quarterbacks where I guess it is fun to talk about that. You don't have to have success in college, and you can go in the fourth overall pick in Anthony Richardson. And I kind of blame Tennessee's defense too, because they also kind of gave good tape out there where Will Levis last year and Anthony Richardson this year, where, maybe they did see that potential in those guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, if Joe Milton has just a little bit of success this season, he's going to be a first-round quarterback for the same reasons Anthony Richardson and Will Levis. We'll lump Will Levis in since he was fairly close to being a first-round pick.
He showed up to the green room. He had confidence.
He did have confidence, and I do feel bad for him. I know, again, he's become a polarizing figure, but you never really want to see somebody go through what he had to go through.
Well, I just said after watching draft day, I don't go to the green room. I don't care who I am. I'm not getting Bo Callahan. It's not happening. Like, I don't do that.
I'm with you. I have to have a guarantee that I'm going like top 15, top 20. And
on the contract.
I'm not showing up. So you got to question kind of those who were informing him and thought it was a good idea for him to show up. But I mean, you saw those guys have a little bit of success on top of their natural God-given abilities and talents, and that's Joe Milton. And if he has a little bit of success, he'll be a first-round quarterback. And if it finally clicks for him and all the potential, I mean, because there's no questioning Joe Milton's potential. Like, he has all the potential in the world to be one of the best quarterbacks in America, even at the next level. And if he pieces it together and has an outstanding season in the SEC, he'll be a top 5 quarterback. Forget just a little bit of success and being a first-round pick. If he has a great year, similar to Hendon did last year in the SEC, he'll be a top 5 pick, if not the number 1 overall pick.
So Heisman, that's what you're calling.
Yeah, I just heard that.
It's hard not to. I guess it's early. It's a small sample size, but it feels like Josh Heupel's about to be in the same kind of Lincoln Riley conversation of just assuming their quarterbacks are going to be in the Heisman conversation every single year. And it's not just Lincoln Riley, but the Ryan Days and Nick Sabans, those programs. Every year their quarterbacks are Heisman front runners before the season starts. And it feels like Josh Heupel's about to kind of be in that same conversation every year. His quarterback being in the running for the Heisman well before the season even starts. So yes, that's exactly what I'm saying, Landon.
Okay, perfect.
Y'all can print the shirts now, and you can credit.
Said it here first. Yeah, Joe. Let's tweet that out right now. Go ahead and
Joe Milton's going to win the Heisman.
Yeah, Ben McKee said it. All right, let's flip the baseball a little bit. We can go back to this if you want to. We can tangent. I don't care. But you did take your son to his first baseball game in Lindsey Nelson. So how was that? And I guess he doesn't really have a choice of who he's going to root for.
I guess he technically does, but I mean,
he was born into it.
He was born into it. That is for sure. And shouts to you for the assist in getting him to the game. The wife was wanting to get out of the house and make it to a game. Obviously, Tennessee baseball is quite the attraction for many reasons. One of the biggest shows in town, if not the show this time of year. So she was wanting to catch a game, and obviously little man is going to tag along at this point. So, I mean, he's only 9 months old, so didn't really consume much baseball. I think he took a nice nap, but he was curious George looking around for sure. So that was pretty cool. I did make sure to lock up a commitment from Tony Vitello. I communicated with him last July after he was born, and I said, look, I've got your first commitment for the class of 2000 and What's 18 years from now?
Oh, that's hard math for me. Yeah, 2000. Yeah, something like that. That sounds good to me. Yeah.
Whatever year it is, I told him, like, you've already got your first commitment. So you and Josh Elander, y'all can chill on this one. Knox is firmly committed to the Vols.
There you go.
Just make sure that you're still around to take his commitment, please.
Number one recruiting class right now. That's what I heard.
That's right. That's right. number one recruiting class in the class of 2041, whatever year we decided. So that was cool. I mean, it's cool becoming a dad. No feeling better, no feeling in the world like it. So that was cool. It wasn't a pretty game at first. Shout out to Tennessee's bats for getting that game turned around, because that one did not start all that pretty.
No. But we took care of it. We ended early, and I'm sure your wife and your son enjoyed that too.
Yes, they did. So if that Tennessee baseball team can show up, then the sky's the limits for them, which is why the first month and a half, 2 months were so frustrating to watch them play for everybody, for a lot of Tennessee fans, because their potential, they're not playing to it, and these last 2 weeks or so they've started to play to it. And I think the exciting part is that they still have so much room to grow, and so much more room for improvement. And if they can really be clicking on all cylinders, not just going into Hoover, because at this point it's about NCAA tournament success for Tennessee baseball, in my opinion. Not that you just disregard Hoover. You still want to win when you go down there, but now that you've kind of secured that accomplishment and got that trophy, they still haven't won a game in Omaha. That's obviously the next step, and potentially winning a national championship one day. So be clicking on all cylinders going into the NCAA tournament, and kind of use Hoover as a springboard to get there. If they can do that, then and this is the cliche, everybody's saying it right now, I'm not sharing anything out of the ordinary, but no team, if Tennessee ends up going somewhere else for a regional, no team's going to want to see Tennessee in their regional if they can be clicking on all cylinders.
Oh, absolutely not. And you mentioned Hoover. I was going to ask about this later, but we'll go ahead and talk about it. I mean, Hoover is interesting. Obviously, you want to win championships. It's fun. I mean, last year was a ton of fun, regardless of how it ended up a couple weeks later. Tennessee's kind of interesting, because I agree. Like, Hoover's not priority list, but also they kind of have I don't follow enough teams to know their bullpen ins and outs or anything, but Tennessee has, they found a new starter with Chase Burns kind of carving out a bullpen role. They still, so they have a starter, All-American starter in their bullpen currently that could go a day. And then they have Camden Sewell as well, who started in Hoover last year. It's not like, you don't necessarily want to throw those arms, but you're also not stressing too much. And so I think it's kind of interesting. It almost seems like it could be an easy approach.
Yeah, I'll be real curious to see how they handle the pitching. The first things first, though, will be to win that Tuesday game, because they'll be playing on Tuesday this year and instead of on Wednesday, because they're not going to have a double bye this year. And for those who are new to the SEC tournament, that Tuesday is all single elimination games. 4 games, they're all single elimination. I don't know the seeding. I think it's 5 through 12. Those seeds all play one another some way, somehow, in single elimination. And if you win on Tuesday, you would obviously advance to Wednesday, and that's when the double elimination kicks in. So I'll be real curious to see who throws that Tuesday, because you play at South Carolina Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I don't think that Andrew Lindsey would turn around pitching from Thursday and go on Tuesday. So who is that starter that throws on Tuesday? And I think the biggest question is how serious will Tony Vitello and Tennessee's coaching staff take the SEC tournament? And again, like you just said, not that they're just going to throw it to the side and not care about it, because you do want to play in at least a couple of games to make sure all of your pitchers get some work and throw. But you don't get that work unless you win on Tuesday. But you're also not going to risk anything for the regional by doing something crazy on that Tuesday. So do you go ahead and throw a Camden Sewell? I think that's what I would do, because he would be ready. Obviously, we'll see what he does at South Carolina. Maybe he throws a million pitches on Saturday and is unavailable for Tuesday. But if it works out to where you can throw Camden on that Tuesday, and then you do make a run in Hoover, then all of a sudden you're coming back on Saturday, most likely Sunday if you make it to the championship game, and Camden Sewell is going to be ready to go on 5 days rest, I believe, or as close to full rest as possible for a starter. And Camden can throw a ton. He's capable of making that quick turnaround. So you have Camden on Tuesday, and then you line up Lindsey, Dolander, Beam. Have to throw another starter in there at some point, probably. But if you can make a run, then you have Sewell starting on that championship Sunday. So I'll be fascinated to see how that plays out, because again, you're not going to go roll all the dice to try and make it to Sunday on that Tuesday, because it's not the end of the world if you don't. I hate kind of having that conversation every single year, but it just kind of is what it is.
Right.
It's Hoover is, yes, you want to win an SEC championship, but it's also more about making sure your arms are ready to go for the regional. So I'll be really curious to see how they approach that, because they could go a number of different directions. And with Lindsey Lindsey, Dolander, and Beam unable to make that quick turnaround to Tuesday and Wednesday, I'll be real curious to see who would start those games.
Yeah, and from a fan standpoint, I won't be terribly upset if we don't play Thursday, Friday. We know it's going to rain, and if I don't have to stay up till 1 a.m. to watch a game, that's fine by me. I'm not mad.
It is fun being LSU, though.
True.
Yeah, I'm sure that Tennessee itself would like some rematches with LSU, Florida, Arkansas. So some of these teams to prove that they're better than what they showed during that stretch that they went on. I'm sure they would love a rematch with Missouri. With how that series went. So there's a lot of pros and a lot of cons. It's a weird ordeal. I am all for Hoover and the SEC tournament being in Hoover. It should never go away. But
it's your home state, right?
No, it is not my home state. I did graduate from high school in Alabama, but
okay.
I'm an Army brat, so I kind of live all over. My
Okay.
parents are originally from West Tennessee,
so you don't claim it.
I do not claim it. I did graduate from Huntsville, Alabama, but I do not claim it. Met my wife there, so did get a
not
little
all
bit
bad
of good from it. There's a lot of orange in Huntsville, so it's very similar to Tennessee. So, but no, I do not claim the state of Alabama.
Can we just get
after the last
another
couple of months
field?
they've had?
Yeah, true. Yeah, that's a good point. I just want another field. So if it rains, we can play two games at once, or stack them closer together. I don't know. Yeah, turf it for all I care. Just play the games.
They've got to figure something out. I know it's a weird dynamic because and the weather affects it every single season. But if you could find a way for the weather, which is all pure luck, but if the weather was not to affect it, like it runs perfectly in terms of entertainment value. Like it's set up perfectly. And baseball is a quirky sport with the amount of games that are played, but it should never move from Hoover. I'm not necessarily pro Birmingham or pro that portion of the state, but just the environment of Hoover. And anybody who's been to the SEC baseball tournament in Hoover knows what I'm talking about, and it's the best of the best. It truly means more in Hoover, Alabama, as the SEC likes to say. There's a lot of pros and cons to it. From a team perspective, especially if you know you're going to be in the NCAA tournament. And the other thing that I should have led off with when you asked me that question, Caleb, is if Tennessee can really have success here these next 3 weekends to finish the regular season in a strong way, they could be playing to be a top 8 national seed in the tournament. I think it's unlikely, but it's a possibility that they would probably have to go on a little bit of a run in Hoover to lock it up if they can have success these next 3 weekends. So they could be playing for not only a potential super regional host, a top 8 national seed, but also more importantly, trying to at least at minimum be a regional host, be a top 16 seed. And again, just listening to kind of what Kendall Rogers has said the last week or two, the baseball writer for D1 Baseball, he said that Tennessee, they're absolutely in the conversation, but may need to win a game or two in Hoover to lock up being able to host that opening weekend. So that could play into Tennessee's plans as well. And obviously, if hosting is on the line, Tony Vitello is going to have his foot on the pedal as hard as he can.
Yeah, especially with that 1-9 record on the road right now. You definitely want to play at home as much as possible. I do want to ask you about the turnaround a little bit from this team. You know, currently on an 8-game win streak. That first part of the season, it just looked like a team who had to replace all of their leadership. I shouldn't say all. Camden Sewell was still there and some other guys, but the majority of their leadership was what had to be replaced. What do you think is the biggest thing that happened that besides Coach Q making them run a ton, what is led to this turnaround from this team?
Yeah, I think a couple of different things. I don't know that the leadership was ever in a bad place. It probably just wasn't what it needed to be. And I kind of hesitate and question my own self saying that, just in the sense of I think it was a lot of guys in new roles and also adjusting to life without Drew Gilbert, without Blade Tidwell, Redmond Walsh, Evan Russell, Luke Lipshius, like for Chase Burns and Chase Dolander. And Burns struggled a little more than Dolander, much more, statistically at least. But even Chase Dolander hasn't been Chase Dolander outside of a couple of outings this season. And I'm talking pre-Tony moving the pitching plans around, because Chase, he was sick this past weekend against Mississippi State, but he looked pretty good at Arkansas. And then he looked really good against Vanderbilt. He's turned it around here of late and looked much more like himself. And I do think he kind of ran into bad luck here and there throughout the season. But my point that I'm getting to is those guys, because they were younger, and Chase Burns was in his first year. Drew Beam was in his first year on campus. Chase Dolander was his first year on Rocky Top after transferring from Georgia Southern. Like, they were all new faces, and not that they were intentionally hiding behind the other faces, but just naturally, the pecking order, they were behind the Redmond Walshes and the Sean Hunleys. Well, not Sean Hunley last year, but behind the Camden Sewells and behind the Blade Tidwells. Like, those guys were the face of kind of the pitching staff going in the year. And the faces of the team as a whole were the Gilberts and the Becks and the Russells and the Lipscombs and the Lipshiuses. Like, those were the guys that everybody looked to first and foremost. Whereas this year, they're looking at Burns and Dolander and Beam, and then in the lineup they're looking at Burke and Moore and Dickey, and that's a lot of pressure, and pressure that I don't think that those guys, not that they weren't ready for it, I don't think that they realized how heavy the pressure is, and I think that kind of affected them to start the year. Just life without those guys and having the target on your back from those players. Not that those players did anything like wrong or anything, but Tennessee baseball became notorious for being the villains in the sport, fair or unfairly, and kind of that group, although they had a ton of success, they still did, within their success, write checks that this team wasn't ready to cash at the beginning of this season. This team had to find their own way, and kind of I guess the simple way to say what I'm talking about is you can't just roll out the batting helmet with the power T on it, or roll out the hat with the power T on it. Kind of like we talk about in football. You just can't roll the football helmet out there, and because it has a power T on it, or if you're Alabama, Georgia, Clemson, their logos are on it, that doesn't mean that you're automatically going to win. And I felt like there was a little bit of that, like an entitlement almost to start the season. Not in terms of them being selfish players or lack of leadership or anything. It's just, I don't think that they were ready to be hunted the way that they were. And I think they had to kind of refine themselves in that sense. They had to learn how to hunt again and deal with being hunted. And I think they've done that a lot better. And you mentioned Q running with them. I think that helped a ton. And again, I don't think the leadership was in a bad place. I just think it helped the leadership get to where it needed to be at a championship level. And there were some weekends where they played bad baseball, but they weren't like in an atrocious baseball team. And again, we're talking about getting over the hump and getting to Omaha. Like, that's the standard now, is getting to Omaha and competing for national championships, because they have the resources to do so. They have the talent on the roster to do so. So they weren't necessarily a bad baseball team, although they played like it at times. Just generally speaking, they weren't a bad baseball team, but what was it going to take to get to that championship level? And I think that's what they've kind of found these last couple of weeks, with the leadership taking a step forward that it needed to, and guys just really being about their work 24/7. Not that they were lazy before, but just doing what's necessary to be potential Omaha contenders, because they certainly did not look like they were going to make a run at Omaha there for several weeks. And they found that edge to them again and found the work that is required to potentially get to Omaha. They had to find themselves because all that took place the last couple of years was great and fantastic, but this is a new core, and just because you're wearing the same jerseys that those guys did, that doesn't mean that you're automatically going to win baseball games. And I think they kind of had to find themselves because there's new face or similar faces and familiar faces, but it's a new group overall. They kind of had to find their way, and I think they've done that these last couple of weeks.
Yeah, the daddy hat and the fur coat definitely helped too. You had to take that out of retirement.
Well, how interesting! Like we just need to. Turns out we don't need our own thing. We just need to be Tennessee. I guess that's a Tennessee baseball thing now. Has to be. I guess it's weird. This team, I guess, hadn't faced, like you said, this leadership. They hadn't faced adversity really. They weren't a part of those. Well, 2020 obviously scratch it, but they weren't top seeded. 2021 was. What were they ranked? 30? Were they 36th on one of the polls? Is that right?
Yeah,
so.
It was low.
Sounds
yeah,
right.
Like super, just very, very.
Even
underrated.
last year, they were ranked kind of low in the preseason poll. They were top 25 and whatnot, but they weren't projected top 10 or anything.
Yeah, they weren't number 2
right.
like they were this year.
No,
and they just hadn't faced that same adversity. So are they officially over the hump? I don't know if it's battered ball syndrome. I've seen it all. I've seen, I guess, quote unquote, what this team can be in both directions. It's hard to believe they go back to there, but is it over? Are we through? Did we get through the window?
I don't think we can definitively say that. They've got to go prove it this weekend on the road because
that's
not that it's easy to win, but it's much easier to win at home. And I didn't think they played all that well in Game 1 and Game 2 against Mississippi State, which I thought was disappointing because I don't think Mississippi State is a good team whatsoever. I do think the offense showed up throughout the weekend. Obviously, they scored a lot of runs, but they should have. That Mississippi State pitching staff is atrocious. Their pitching coach got fired like 2 days later. That tells you all you need to know. And they do have some dudes in the lineup. There's no doubt about that. They have some guys that can absolutely rake, and you saw the heart of their lineup really terrorize Tennessee. But there were some lackluster moments, I thought, in Game 1 and Game 2, and I'm not blaming Chase Dolander because you can't help being sick. Maybe the coaching staff needs to, and this is hindsight, Monday morning quarterback, but I walked past Chase Dolander after his Game 2 start on Friday night and asked him how he was feeling, and he looked and sounded like death. Did not sound or look like somebody who needed to have tried to pitch that day. So maybe there needed to be some more awareness and roll with somebody else in that moment. Not Chase's fault that he was sick, and you tip your hat to him for trying to gut it out and wanting to pitch and be there for his team. But that did kind of throw off that game from a pitching standpoint. There were some questionable pitching decisions going from Xander, who had cruised through the 4th inning. I guess it was 1, 2, 3 inning, if I remember correctly. And then there's a couple of lefties due up the next inning, and they brought in Bryce Jenkins instead. And that's because they liked Bryce Jenkins' strikeout pitch, wipeout pitch better. And he's been really good against lefties this season, although he's a righty. And that move just didn't pay off. So I'm getting to the point that, like, there was some bad luck, I think, in terms of Chase Dolander being sick and that kind of throwing off the pitching plans. And that's really nobody's fault at the end of the day, but some quirky stuff going on that may have contributed to them not playing too well at times against Mississippi State. But I think Georgia is another version of Mississippi State, a slightly better version. As of right now, they're the last team projected in the NCAA tournament. I don't think their lineup is as good from top to bottom, but they have some dudes at the top and in the middle that can absolutely rake. But you look at their SEC numbers, and their lineup is average at best. They don't do a lot of things well. Their pitching has been very, very bad. Not as bad as Mississippi State, but maybe a tier above Mississippi State, which isn't saying much. They do play great defense. That's about the only thing that they do well. Is that they have the second highest fielding percentage in SEC play. So they won't give Tennessee too many second chances. But going on the road, Tennessee needs to prove that they can win on the road. And this is a team that they should beat. Georgia has some talent here and there, but again, not an overall great team. And 1-9, I believe it is, on the road so far for Tennessee. They've got to buck that trend, because they have a chance to host the Super Regional, but it's highly unlikely, I think, like we were talking about earlier. It may even be a little unlikely that they host the regional. So I do think that they've turned a corner, but have they turned a corner to where they can make a deep run in the postseason? I don't know. I need to see them win on the road first, and this is a good weekend to do so, because you're playing somewhat of a good baseball team, but it is a team that you should beat.
Yeah.
Good chance to turn it around.
Yeah. I wanted to ask about the catcher position, because that's been a position, like, for 2 years, it's just been weird. Just not really had a mainstay there, or somebody that's just actually been a catcher. So I mean, what do you? And it's weird, because like, it doesn't seem like Tennessee's really worried about base runners. Like, is that something that worries you, like, down the road, or is it just it is what it is, and hopefully they can get a catcher in the transfer portal, or a fresh, or somebody like that?
All of the above. It's a philosophy within the program. And look, Frank Anderson is one of the best pitching coaches on the planet. He is regarded as the best pitching coach in the country. And that's not just kind of, I cover Tennessee, so I think he's the best. No, like, he's widely regarded throughout the sport as the best pitching coach. His resume speaks to that in terms of where he's coached, how many guys he's gotten drafted and have gone on to play professionally in the big leagues. Like, there's a lot of data that supports Frank Anderson being the best pitching coach.
I didn't want to call you out on this, but when you mentioned your son committing, you didn't mention Frank Anderson. I don't know if it's an age thing. I mean, we know he's been around the block. He's coached a lot of dudes. So I wasn't going to call you out, but since we're talking about it, I maybe he'll coach your son, and then maybe he'll be there. I don't know. I'm not
trying to be ageist, if that's the right word. We're just trying to figure out what position Knox is going to play. He's shown early signs of being a lefty. So if we can get the velo up, and we're pumping high velo from the left side, he will certainly be coached by Frank Anderson, hopefully. So we'll see. We're still trying to figure out which position. I'd love for him to be coached by Frank Anderson, because Frank Anderson is the best of the best, but I don't necessarily like the philosophy, and it's not just Frank. It's obviously a group effort, but and I get the thought process. They care more about the war at the plate than the battle on the base. And like, I get that, right? Like, if you get the hitter out, the base runner doesn't matter. Sure. That's absolute fact, and there is some truth to that. But there are also certain situations where that base runner can put a lot of pressure and create a lot of stress on the pitcher, to where that affects their ability to pitch to the batter. Yeah. And so I think there's a philosophy there that I don't like personally. Always attack the hitters and throw strikes and worry about the hitter, but you just can't disregard what the base runners are doing. So Tennessee has had a catching issue defensively the last 2 years. I don't think Evan Russell got enough props for how good he was defensively as a catcher. Sure. Maybe he wasn't throwing out a ton of runners, but he was terrific at framing pitches. Josh Elander has said multiple times, like, he frames with the best of them in the country with the stats that they track. Evan was terrific doing that. And Tennessee's catchers this year do that really well as well. But there's just not a commitment to slowing down the opposing running game. And Tennessee's pitchers are very, very slow to the plate. So, yeah, Tennessee doesn't have Yadier Molina's arm behind the plate, but the pitchers are doing the catchers no favors. And this goes back to Connor Pavolony. And Connor Pavolony's already in Double-A because of his ability as a defensive guy. Like, Pav has a terrific arm and is a terrific catcher defensively, and even he had issues throwing guys out because the pitchers don't give the catchers, because of the philosophy, a real chance to gun guys down. So again, I get it, the thought process, but I do think there's situations where you do need to worry about those base runners. And again, creating that stress on the pitcher. when it's the 7th and 8th inning and a good base runner gets on base in a regional do or die game or super regional game 3, Omaha's on the line, or heck, even at Omaha with a championship on the line, like that's a lot of pressure for a pitcher to deal with, not only trying to get the batter out, but also the pressure that the base runner is putting on him as well. So I think it's just going to be a thing long term. I know fans don't want to hear that, but Tennessee's also run into some bad luck at the catching position. They did get a transfer following Pav getting drafted, and that transfer just chose not to play baseball anymore in the fall. So you kind of got screwed there, quite frankly, in the fall leading into last season, into the number 1 overall team in the country year. And that's when Evan made the switch. And Evan did absolutely terrific, did as great as he could have given the circumstances, and Tennessee kind of getting screwed late there. And then this past year, after Evan graduates, they go out and get a commitment from the Austin P catcher, Jack Alexander, and he unexpectedly and kind of caught Tennessee off guard by signing an undrafted free agent deal with the Kansas City Royals. And they were not at all expecting that. So they've gone out and made plans to fix the catching issue. Ryan Miller was supposed to be the guy that transitioned from Pavoloni, but the defense hasn't necessarily been there for Ryan Miller, and that hasn't gone according to plan at times. Obviously, Ryan Miller hasn't played a ton. So he has a terrific bat, has a lot of power in the bat, but his glove just isn't what his bat is. And again, they thought he was going to be the guy after Pav, and that unfortunately has not worked out the way that anybody thought that it would. But the hope is that they've got a kid coming in from Huntsville, Alabama, kind of my neck of the woods. I'll claim it when I want to, in which I want to. They've got a kid coming in, Stone Lawless, who's a really good young guy. Did have shoulder surgery last summer, so I don't know where he's at with that. I think he's back and playing as a senior. Maybe I need to do better homework and check up on that. But he's a guy with a lot of tools, a lot of power, a lot of great defensive tools behind the plate as well. And he's somebody that they may have to be a little bit nervous about with the draft. Not like hugely concerned, not a lot of concern there, but something to keep an eye on more so. And just the draft is nervous with all your top commitments because teams just randomly throw a lot of money at somebody, and people jump at money as we know. But hopefully they've got a kid in waiting with Stone Lawless. Cal Stark will be back next year as well. Jared Dickey, I think he's just kind of run into some bad luck this year when he had the hand injury in the fall. I think that set him back in terms of making that transition to full-time catcher. And they like him in left field because it limits the wear and tear on his body. And Tony Vitello really likes the energy that Cal Stark brings behind the plate. And he has a little pop in his bat as well, has a good rapport with the pitcher. So that's why you've kind of seen them move to the Cal Stark behind the dish and Jared Dickey out in left field tandem. And then the hope is that Stone Lawless can come in, which is an awesome name. Stone Lawless is an awesome.
He was born to be a catcher.
Born to be a catcher. Born to be a baseball player. Born to be a catcher. Yeah. But they're really, really high on him. I don't know how ready he'll be as a freshman. Josh Elander is terrific at coaching catchers, so I wouldn't rule it out. And plus, he won't have to play right away because you do have Cal Stark. We'll see what happens with Charlie Taylor this offseason. And I'm sure because of how the catcher situation has gone the last 2 years, I'm sure they'll look to add somebody if they possibly can. I mean, they've always kind of looked to add. They brought in Landon Gray a couple of years ago as a veteran catcher. They brought in Jackson Greer. They tried to do the same the last 2 years with two different guys, and they just weren't able to really get them to campus. So they've got a stud coming in that's a freshman, and I'm sure that they'll try to add somebody from the portal as well.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about Dylan Dreiling too. Is that's a guy that I'm not confused about it. It's a good problem to have, but how hard would it be for you to not put him in the lineup every day?
Extremely hard, and not just Dylan Dreiling, him and Kavaris Tears. They both deserve to be in the lineup every single day, and I'm surprised if you would have told me during the fall or back during the summer when the freshmen just got here. And through the recruiting process that Reese Chapman would have as few at-bats as he's had to this point, Not saying that he's being screwed out of at bats or something. I just think that there's a lot of guys out there. That's the issue. A lot of guys and not a ton of at bats to go around. But I'm surprised even he hasn't been able to carve out more of a role, because that's the outfielder that you heard about more coming out of high school. Like you heard about Dylan Dreiling, but Alex Stanwich is not with the program this semester. But he and Reese Chapman, those were the two big-time guys coming in with this freshman class. And Reese Chapman's still going to be good. They're still really, really high on him. He's going to have a bright future for Tennessee. I can see him kind of following the Kafar's Tears route. Not that Chapman is redshirting this year, but like Tears did redshirt last year, kind of a year of acclimation, getting used to college baseball, getting used to being at Tennessee. Chapman's from Colorado. This is a completely new world for him. But once he gets really comfortable, really taking off, because he has an elite skill set. They were really worried about him getting drafted and signing. And Tennessee actually thought that pro scouts and pro teams mis-scouted him. They didn't think that they were high enough on Chapman. So all three of those guys, Dreiling, Tears, Chapman, and specifically Dreiling and Tears, because they've played more, they've produced more. But it would be really, really hard for me not to include them in the lineup every single day. But I get it. You have to have Christian Scott in the lineup. He's great defensively. He's a great leader, has become a great leader, and he's really swung the bat really well. He really should have been SEC Player of the Week this past week, but LSU's Dylan Cruz won yet again. So C. Scott's got to be out in right field. Hunter Ensley's got to be in center field. Hunter Ensley, I think, is probably the most underrated player on this team. Doesn't have the elite skill set like we were talking about with quarterbacks earlier. Doesn't necessarily do anything that just pops out to you, but just is just a really good baseball player. Does everything well. Gives you good competitive at-bats at the top of the lineup. I don't recall a moment off the top of my head where he's had a defensive mistake all year. Now that I think about it, he may not look like Drew Gilbert roaming around out there, but again, I don't recall a mistake by him defensively this season. So just a really steady, good college baseball player. And then like I just mentioned, they like Jared Dickey out in left field because it limits the wear and tear on his body, and they like the energy that Cal Stark brings behind the plate. So although I hate Dreiling and Tears not being in the lineup, and Dreiling has been more of a DH here of late, I hate it, but it makes sense. You got to have C. Scott and Ensley in there. I like what they're doing with Dickey and Stark. And remember how bad the outfield defense was to start the season. Like that's something that needed to be corrected right away. And the answers to fixing the outfield defense was C. Scott in right field and Hunter Ensley in center. And that's where Dreiling is lacking because he is a freshman. Not that he's a bad defender, but he is behind those guys defensively. And yes, Tennessee needed to get the offense going, but before it got the offense going, it needed to get the outfield defense corrected as soon as possible. And since LSU weekend, the outfield defense has been great. So I hate not having them in the lineup, but it certainly makes sense. And I like those guys that are out there right now.
Yeah.
Right.
I have one. Caleb, do you have any more questions? I got one more question.
Yeah, I've got one more, and it's about probably the biggest story in college baseball this week. You guys had in the press box at Lindsey Nelson, we tried Pop-Tarts, debated, I guess. I don't know how it all occurred. So 2-part question. 1, what's your favorite Pop-Tart? 2, what was there a winner, or did you guys leave hating each other? How did it roll out?
Well, it got started because I showed up to one of the games. I don't remember what game it was. It might have been that Sunday game against Vanderbilt. And my lunch was a s'mores Pop-Tart with coffee. So I think that's kind of what sparked the debate. But that is my favorite Pop-Tart. S'mores Pop-Tart, my favorite.
Good Pop-Tart.
Yeah, I apparently it's not liked as much as I thought it was liked, which is it's fine. If you don't think it's the best Pop-Tart, that's cool. That's whatever. But to think it's a bad Pop-Tart, that's just an outrageous take to think that a s'mores Pop-Tart is bad, especially if you put it in the toaster for like 12 seconds and get it nice and warm and you get into the middle of that Pop-Tart. Like, tell me that that's not good, and I'm questioning you as a person, to be quite honest. But
was it the s'mores in the foil or like the plastic wrapper though? Like, did you get it like a gas station in the plastic?
That's a good point. That's a good point. And I made this point. See, I'm a professional Pop-Tart eater, so I have many Pop-Tart opinions. See,
I think it's got to be in the foil. Personally,
foil is much better.
Okay,
I made this point to Mike Wilson. Mike Wilson looked at me like I was crazy, but I told him the gas station Pop-Tarts are not as good as the Pop-Tarts you buy in the store because of the foil. That's a great point. I'm glad somebody knows exactly what I was speaking about, because this could not be. This is the absolute truth. I will eat a gas station Pop-Tart because Pop-Tarts are Pop-Tarts. I love all Pop-Tarts.
Right,
I don't really have a flavor that I dislike. It's also why I've gained too much weight since I had a kid, because you just have absolutely no time for yourself anymore, and you eat whatever you can find.
Well, you've earned it. You've earned that weight.
I've certainly earned it. I've
you become a dad, you get to gain weight. That's part of it.
That's right. Once you get married, don't let my wife hear this, but you get married, you have a kid, and you can kind of stick it on cruise control and just go from there.
Yeah.
You still need to make some efforts, obviously, but you can kind of just roll with it. Like, she's locked in. Supposedly, she's supposed to be. So
you wear nice shoes. That's the caveat there.
That's right. Well, I've got the shaved head. We're going buff, balded, and bearded. That's the real big baller brand. Buff, balded, and bearded over here. But yeah, s'mores Pop-Tart's my favorite. I love the brown sugar. It is really, really good too. That was actually the winner. And then I think Pop-Tart was actually, or s'mores was actually the least favorite. That was the one that people did not like. But that one is my favorite. And I think the fruit ones came in like second, third, and fourth. Blueberry, strawberry. Mike Wilson tweeted out the results.
Okay, the Oreo one is too much.
What's that?
The Oreo one, I think it's too much.
Well, see, my problem is I have a sweet tooth. So, like, that's why I love any Pop-Tart, because I have a sweet tooth. I like the cookies and cream, but you certainly have to have a sweet tooth to like it. It's not my favorite. It's not up there towards the top, but I do like it. Like, if it's there, again, I love all Pop-Tarts. I don't Pop-Tart shame. Like, all Pop-Tarts are equal to me for the most part. So I will eat a cookies and cream Pop-Tart. My wife likes the hot fudge, I believe it is, or the chocolate fudge or whatever it's called. That's pretty good. A little too much fudge and a little too much cookies and cream. You got to have a real sweet tooth, but you got to get into the middle. The breading on some of the Pop-Tarts, I will say that's my one nitpick. Is some Pop-Tarts you break the breading off and eat the middle of it, and that's where the cookies and cream and the fudge one comes into play. You get into the middle of it, and it's pretty good then.
Yeah. Can I put you on some s'mores? Not a Pop-Tart, but something different. Can I put you on something?
Absolutely, please do. Yeah, obviously I love
Dairy
food.
Queen Blizzard, the s'mores, bussin'.
Okay, that's good. Good to know. I've been on the New York style cheesecake Blizzard here of late. And it's absolutely delicious.
Yeah, try the s'mores and let me know what you think.
Well, I have a sweet tooth. I'm a foodie, if you can't tell. So this is not good for me. I'm trying to cut down on weight. You're not helping me, Landon. I don't appreciate.
Well, you're doing the big baller brand. I'm just trying to help you out.
When I say buff, I'm not talking about that type of buff. I'm talking about like weight room buff.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, that's
a work in progress. Obviously,
this is your cheat day.
Yeah, you got plenty of time.
Yeah, cheat day.
Did Wildberry did y'all not get a box of Wildberry? Because that's concerning, because that's behind brown sugar cinnamon, which is more readily available. I think Wildberry is the best.
Yeah, Mike Wilson was in charge of picking the boxes up.
So I'll get on to him.
Which I'm glad that he's not here to defend himself. And I will throw out quite the accusations. But he is from the north, and he likes to comment on Knoxville barbecue, and I just don't think that's fair. Him as a northerner, me as a southerner, I think my taste buds when it comes to barbecue should be trusted more, and he doesn't quite understand that. So he was in charge of getting the Pop-Tarts. So all shaming of the Pop-Tarts that were tried should be directed. I believe his Twitter name is @by Mike Wilson of the Knoxville News Sentinel. So please direct all of the Pop-Tart hate there. But no, I don't think we tried that one. That one is good. Again, a Pop-Tart is a Pop-Tart to me. I mean,
I'll write an op-ed for the News Sentinel. I'll write an op-ed telling why Wildberry's the best. That's what we'll do.
You need to get email John Adams. He'll write a column on it. We can get him shaming Mike and shaming Mike's dislike of Knoxville barbecue, which is an absurd take.
That is bad. I didn't know that about him. I'm losing a lot of respect for Mike right now. That's very unfortunate.
Very fair, in my opinion.
All right, so last question. Well, it's kind of a two-parter. We hosting a regional, gut feeling, just say yes or no, and then are the Yankees dead?
Yes, I'll say Tennessee hosts a regional. I think they'll sneak in. Seems like they're pretty close. Their RPI is in a really good spot, and I think they win these next 2 weekends, and then that series at South Carolina to end the regular season. That'll be a big one as well. We'll see if they have any work to do going into Hoover. But unless they fall flat on their face these next 2 weeks, it sounds like they should be in a pretty good position. So I'm not super confident. I'm kind of middle of the road on a 1 to 10 confidence scale, maybe like a 5 or a 6 in terms of saying that they'll host. But I'm trusting the pitching changes. I think the shakeup going in to Arkansas, I know it didn't result in wins, but the pitching as a whole, it hasn't been bad this year, but it's lived up to its potential these last couple of weeks since those changes. And I think in hindsight, when we reflect on the season at some point, I think that's going to be the point in which Tennessee turned its season around. So I'll say yes, although I'm not super confident in that prediction. And are the Yankees dead? I think literally they are dead because it's a AAA roster at this point because everybody is hurt. Literally everybody is dead. An arm is dead. A shoulder is dead, a leg, a groin, everything's dead about the Yankees. So I don't know. It's like impossible to watch them play because it's literally a AAA lineup except for Anthony Rizzo and Glaber. It's not fun to watch. Everybody's hurt. So it's kind of hard to have a fair assessment of the Yankees. Carlos Rodon, big free agent signing, nowhere to be found. And they can't figure out what's wrong with him. Luis Severino's always hurt. It's always one thing after the next. Giancarlo Stanton, I love him, but he's always hurt. Aaron Judge is now hurt. It's not very fun to watch play baseball. But now with Major League Baseball allowing practically everybody into the postseason, I guess we can't say that they're dead. As long as they can get healthy at a reasonable point, I'm sure they can sneak into the playoffs.
Well, I'm hoping they just get healthy when they play the Braves. I'm going to watch them play the Braves in Atlanta, so that would be nice if I could see some players that I know.
Yes, that would be ideal. I'm hoping to make the trip. I absolutely hate the fact that series is A, in the middle of the week, and B, right in the middle of fall camp, which does me no favors. And then even when they play in Cincinnati here in a couple of weeks, it's the weekend that I'll be in South Carolina with Tennessee baseball. So
there you go.
The MLB scheduling gods did me absolutely no favors, but hopefully I can make it down to Atlanta.
Well, they practice in the morning, so Heupel helps you out as much as he could, I guess.
That's true. Maybe I can make a couple of down and back trips, but we'll see. It's fun. The Yankees have the Braves number, no matter how good the Yankees and no matter how good the Braves are. So that'll be fun to get down there and watch a nice Yankee sweep of the Braves.
Absolutely. Well, man, we appreciate it. Always a good time. Thanks for hopping on again, and hopefully you get to see the Yankees in their best form, I guess. I don't even know what the best form looks like. I'm waiting to see that.
Yeah, well, apparently their best form is getting to the ALCS and getting swept by the Astros. That's apparently their best form. But I appreciate y'all having me on and letting me ramble on here on a Thursday night.
Absolutely, man.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Yeah, y'all have a great weekend.
See you, Ben.
See you.
That was Ben Mckee. Great interview. Fun talking baseball with him. Fun talking sports, and obviously some more in there with Pop-Tarts and what the best are. Respect to him for not calling out the worst. That's the true mark of a Pop-Tart connoisseur. Like he said, there's no bad Pop-Tart.
I think the ones without any kind of icing on it, those are the worst.
Those are the worst, but like he said, they're not. I'll eat them.
Yeah, that's true. I will never buy them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yep.
Good point. Facebook is popping off again. Not like it was that one night.
What the heck is this?
rip in peace to that guy. Do we block him? Is that what happened?
know.
Because I
don't know.
I wouldn't mind having him back. Slow, off season stuff. Off season's about to hit. Nothing on here in June or mid June.
Yeah.
So we'll need him back by mid June. But yeah, shout out to Ben. Love talking baseball with him. It's a guy who good Lord, Joe. Guy who knows his stuff, so it's fun. He is a Yankees fan, which we don't. You know how we feel about Yankees fans on this podcast.
Yeah, we love them.
Yeah, and we'll sure. But we move on to spite. All right. Do we have any questions for this show? I've got one for our listeners while you look, and maybe you will know this. So this week I usually stay on eBay, like looking for just like typically Vols memorabilia, sometimes other stuff like golf stuff, just like cool stuff that you don't find in regular old stores anymore because they're old or whatever.
Just too old.
I ran across a ticket for the 1994 Orange and White game in Chattanooga. And we actually talked about this last year when the game got moved.
Did you buy it?
No, I should have. You're right, I should have, because it was only it was like $10. Like it would have been a cool buy. But I thought that was cool. I couldn't find any information online. I tried Google searching it, see if I could read about it, why they did it. I'm gonna assume stadium renovation, similar thing, took it on the road, but I could not verify. But regardless, I thought that was cool, and they must have played it on the on-campus stadium at UT Chattanooga because Finley Stadium would not be built until a few years later. So it would have been played in their on-field stadium that was, if I can remember correctly, pretty small, but I think it said they had a crowd of like 14,000, something like that for that game.
Hell yeah.
So a good crowd. Not, we talked about taking it to West Tennessee or Chattanooga or Johnson City. Like that would be really cool to do for a spring game. So yeah, I thought that was cool. And if anybody knows about that, has any information, it's not that long ago. Like there should be people that remember that. I would like to know. So question for the viewers.
Yeah.
For the listeners. DM me. I should be watching the chat just in case somebody in the chat knows about it. Sorry, tell me now if you know, because I'm watching. But anyways, yeah, I thought that was really cool. Obviously, baseball does that for the fall. So
we do have a question. It's what do you think about this rule for baseball? And it says a rule to be added should be baseball at the end of the fifth inning, every player should have to eat a full hot dog.
I don't think that would change the game at all, if we're just being honest. I'm sorry. This is going to be like the Caleb baseball hate segment, but it's not like a super active sport. If it's like a dog during golf.
I feel like pitchers, that would be tough.
Pitchers would be tougher because you're like constantly, you have no time unless the pitcher should get to do it going into their half inning that they're on the bench.
See, I'm thinking we do like the catcher has a hot dog that they have to eat in one of the 9 innings.
Catcher would be tough too because you're in a squad. Okay, two positions would be difficult. Pitcher and catcher. I don't think any of the others would be. Okay,
so I like this rule. I think it should be implemented. But I also want to add something to it. A little cat and mouse game. The catcher has to eat a hot dog in the game, and the batter at bat has to catch him eating the hot dog. If he eats it without the batter catching him, it counts as a run.
I think that's an interesting. What kind of mask do you wear at that point?
It's a regular mask, one that would fit. Hot dog.
Could you get? I was about to say, I don't know if you could get. You might be able to get wiener in. You couldn't get bun in though. Bun and wiener. There's no way.
I don't know. I just think it'd be awesome to like see how fast the catcher could eat the hot dog.
So you mean like one bite he could done?
He could do it however he wants to, but he has to finish the hot dog before somebody realizes he's eating it.
See, I think too. I think you have to give the pitchers their half inning to the bench. Otherwise, that's an away team advantage. If that pitcher has to go between the 4th and the 5th inning, that home team pitcher has to eat his hot dog as soon as the 4th inning ends, and then goes out there and pitches. I think that's away team advantage.
Yeah, maybe. Mm-hmm.
Batters have to do it in the batter's box.
Well, you also don't know what kind of dog you're getting either if you're away.
Oh, it's up in the air. What do you mean? Like
it could be like one that's been on that roller for a while. It could be.
Oh, okay. You're not talking. You're not talking the best of the best.
Could be
home team gets the best. Away team gets whatever they.
Yeah.
whatever the home team concession stands feels like putting out. Okay. So advantage home team again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. The fifth inning might be too late.
Good
though.
in the fifth inning. Like you don't get take me out to the ball game. It's not the seventh inning stretch. The fifth inning is just like a random inning. It's a whatever inning. So let's add a hot dog.
Yeah, I don't hate that. I
think
you do have to have
maybe
something.
don't mess with the field of play and like everybody gets a half price hot dog in the fifth inning, but they have to go in the fifth inning.
No, I think that's definitely good for. I need to see the players take on another challenge. I think that's.
You think baseball's too easy? That's what you're saying.
No, I just think make it. Imagine a good screen grab of
Joe.
Kirby
You
Cannell.
can get in here too. I'm interested in what you think on. Joe's like, just give me like 4 hot dogs in an inning.
Also, shout out to Kevin Valone for the absolutely electric hot dog review. Who was his buddy with him? What was his name again? His buddy,
Yeah.
Kevin Valone and his buddy.
Yeah.
Shout out, electric hot dog review from Lindsey Nelson on Tuesday night. Love to see it. Send us your hot dog reviews from this week. Send them for this weekend, wherever you're watching the game from. Yeah. But especially when you're in Lindsey Nelson the following week, send them to us.
I think he had an 8.5. Joe, what did you have?
8.1.
8.1 with a better bun, I think. Or maybe it was like 8.5 or 8.6 with a better bun and then 8.1 just for the.
What did you give it, Caleb?
The glizzy.
I was high up on it. It was my first stadium dog since like November. I think I was like a 9.3, 9.5.
Jeez.
It was, dude, mine was delicious. Do you know that that first beer you have when you get into a stadium? It was that level of good. First beer when you get on a golf course. First beer when you go out to like when you're at the pool or the beach. It always hits different. Have you seen that Bert Kreischer video? I think he's on a Sunday Conversation with Caleb Presley, and he talks about the first drink and how awesome it is.
Oh, yeah.
And Glenn, he's like, dude, you just got me so hyped. That's how I feel. But yeah, that's that first stadium dog that you have after months.
He's like, I will never
first
stop
stadium
drinking.
Yeah. The first stadium dog I'll never stop eating hot dogs. The first hot dog, like in a normal like October game in Neyland, is delicious, but it's not the same as that first one in September for the year. That one's different animal.
Dude, I had one the other day. I didn't review it because I was by myself. It's weird.
No, you gotta review it, dude.
But I put like queso on it. Damn.
That's a little weird. I'm gonna be honest.
No, it's great.
I'm not a cheese.
You're not a cheese
on hot dog guy.
You like mustard
just
on
chili.
a hot dog. Ugh.
It's ketchup that's the problem. Now you're throwing mustard in? What? I cannot win with you people.
God forbid you put ketchup or mustard on a hot dog, but queso is all of a sudden.
I don't understand what's wrong
Joe
with
wasn't
being
a
full-blooded
He didn't
American.
like ketchup, right?
I used to be ketchup on hot dog, and then I thought I outgrew it because I thought that was like something for people under the age of like 15. And then because ketchup just seems like an immature like dressing for me or condiment, but I've kind of come around to it. So I mean, I couldn't do just ketchup though. It seems a little weird. I have to do a little bit of the mix. But Caleb, I'll give you props. It was pretty good.
Thank you. I mean, hot dog, there's only so much you can put on it. And then chili is not available everywhere. That's troubling. I think that's, like golf courses that don't have chili. At Aguani, I love Aguani to death. We'll be there here in a couple weeks. I mean, it's a great golf course, but the fact that they don't have chili it concerns me for them. And I don't know how that business is going to do over the.
Are you talking about chili on a hot dog or just chili separate?
Both. Well, I mean, I like both, but
it's just not a
chili
golf
dog
it's not a golf course thing.
Chili dog, I promise.
Let me ask you. I mean, Landon, obviously you're not as much of an avid golfer, but what's better, the hot dog at?
Hey, I can eat some hot dogs now.
Oh no, that's fair. But so I guess what's better, the first, whatever's the best hot dog experience at Lindsey Nelson, like first of the season, or maybe like just a great Friday night game. What's better, that or the hot dog at the turn after your first 9 that you like? That hot dog gets you going at the turn.
So there's a couple different levels of turn dog. It's a great question. The turn dog when you're struggling.
Yeah.
When you're having a bad day,
pick me up dog.
That turn dog is that's one of the best hot dogs on planet Earth.
Damn straight.
It's a close second to a first stadium dog. But like, I mean, narrow close. It's better than a normal Lindsey Nelson dog. Better than a normal Neyland Stadium dog. And I'll tell you who has the let's see. One of the best. I won't say the best. One of the best dogs, chili dogs as well. Patriot Hills. Great chili dog.
I'm playing there tomorrow, so I might have to.
There you go.
I'm not a big chili dog guy, but you just kind of No offense, but
Sold.
you just kind
If
of.
it's a lady, well, I think she's a teacher. There's a lady back there. I mean, I assume they make them the same every day, but I swear, man, I don't know if it's a little bit of love she puts when she prepares it. She just does something different. It's incredible.
Is the hot dog good overall? Because if I'm not feeling chilly,
Yes.
Okay.
I haven't played there. It's been a while. When I graded it, one of my best, it's probably been 5 or 6 years ago. So don't like hold this to me. It's been a while, probably a year since I've had one overall. But yeah, it's solid.
Yeah, no, I'll hold it to you. If it's bad, I'm gonna have you reimburse my round of golf. So
I'll pay for your hot dog at Iguani next week too, because Iguani's hot dog phenomenal.
Pretty good.
I mean, yeah, it's delicious.
I might have a hot dog too, but I'm also gonna go with the new combo that they got.
What is it y'all were talking about last week? I can't remember though.
I think it's burger and fries.
Oh wow, yeah,
At
yeah. They've got a full grill at Iguani. Yeah, it's good stuff.
See, they wrap their stuff in aluminum foil too, and it stays warm, and everything stays in there.
That's ballpark
key.
right there.
Yeah, that's that's hot dog 101.
Yeah.
Also, let me put you on to a little nice golf treat. This is the best food on the golf course besides a turn dog, and that's the thing is a lot of people want to get 2 dogs, one for the road, one for the turn. No, because it's not going to hold up. No matter how good it is, it's not going to be the best. Go to ideally night before, but if you can run to the store before, get you a 6-pack of Uncrustables.
Yes, let's go. It's the literally
and the pro move is get both flavors, strawberry and grape. And you got the choice of either one. That's the pro move. But yeah, I don't know if I was the one that actually did it, but the golf Reddit page, I posted about it one time, and then it started like flying off. Like everyone was like, "Oh my god, whoever suggested this, thank you so much." So I like to think I've changed the generation.
Dude, I would smash some strawberry Uncrustables.
Dude,
I'll bring some next week.
If you freeze them the night before the round and like get them really in like a good freezer and really get them like good, by the time you indulge on that thing after the turn, it's like if I keep it in the cooler, if the course has a cooler, if not, different story, but it's just about the best thing you can have on a golf course. And look, I'm a big turn on guy.
Bring a little cooler for you, personal cooler. You want to keep them cold because you want that jelly to be like almost frozen.
Yes, yeah.
But so you can have one like second, third hole and it still be delicious. Don't put them in the cooler till you get to the course. Take them out, just throw them in your car, drive to the course, then put them in the cooler. By that point, they'll be thawed out enough. Second, third hole, delicious.
Oh, they're so good.
Dude, speaking of food, I had wings tonight for dinner. My wife made wings, and she was sitting on the couch, and I just after I got done, I leaned over to her and I was just like, "Thank God you didn't watch me eat those, because you probably would have divorced me, because it was disgusting what I did to those chicken wings,
bone and all, baby."
Oh man, incredible.
What flavor?
Buffalo, yeah.
Okay, simple. I like it.
It's one of the only ways to go.
Yep.
I'm not a big. I just like my wings. I just want buffalo. Dude, I'll take really hot, but I just want like.
I had teriyaki wings when I was younger, and now I just I can't stop. I love them. Craven wings teriyaki, I'm telling you, is one of the best sauces on wings, and it kind of makes them out. There's so many good sauces at Craven wings. Like even
I'm
like
so
it.
No free ads.
No free. Yeah, actually, Craven wings hit me up. I'll be an ambassador. In fact, I need to eat there. I haven't eaten there in a while, but and then Zaxby's I always get. Honestly, I don't think Zaxby's sauces are very good, and teriyaki's kind of just their best by default. And I love Zaxby's. This comes from a place of love. Zaxby's, fix it.
See, I love some wimpy sauce. I think that's good.
I will never order. You will never catch me saying, "Can I get a wimpy sauce?" Yeah, no, not me.
God, whatever. Dude. Whatever. All right, we got any more questions?
No, that was it. I want to learn more about this 94 orange and white game, though. So please, someone tell me. I'm dying to know.
Any stupidities?
Yeah, I've got 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've got 2. This is officially, it is 10:01. More important issues after dark. I can do this. Utah banned Pornhub from, I guess, their computers. I don't know exactly how that works. I guess location based. They banned Pornhub. But yeah, people are just getting VPNs. But yeah, they banned Pornhub, which good for them. Like if you stand for nothing, you'll fall for everything. So shout out to the Mormons. But yeah, the VPN business is just flying off the shelves there in Utah.
Maybe they needed to. Maybe that's why they did it.
Maybe like work production's going down since like 2020. Work from home. People just aggressively watching porn. I don't know.
they had like an epidemic of porn.
Yeah, it's really interesting because I'm just like Pornhub. I don't know the details. Maybe they banned all porn sites, but if it was Pornhub specifically, do they not know there's other websites?
No, I didn't, Gail. Explain to me how many there are.
There is. I'm sure. Okay, you want to go back to Vegas? You calling me out like this? We can. If you'll let me share that publicly, I will gladly do it.
No.
All right.
Please don't.
Joe, I'm going to tell you after, and I'll let you decide. This isn't. We'll save that debate for the next true After Dark episode.
That's fine.
Yeah, they have actually the most Pornhub usage per capita, so that makes sense. I feel like maybe they got a little out of control.
Don't they have like 6
Is that
wives
real?
each? What
Did
are
you
they
just look
needing?
that up?
Yeah, I'm doing some
What
research
did
on
you
it right
search?
now. That doesn't need to be talked about.
It sounded like you had it up before Gail even read it off.
No, I just, you know,
That's better than
internet's a
just
weird place.
Googling.
How often do you go
Pornhub.
to Utah, Joe?
Been there a couple times. Yeah.
All right.
That's fair.
I have one. It's the TSSAA.
Shout out.
They Innsworth baseball season is now over because they had to forfeit a game because a kid threw a no-hitter with 16 Ks, but he went one pitch over his pitch count, and they had to forfeit.
So I'm assuming in the game he went over. See, that's dumb.
Yeah.
See, I'm all for the.
I feel like they should stop the game and be like, yo,
Yeah.
you're at 120.
They definitely, if that's the rule, yes, they should. But I'm also think I'm in the camp of the pitch count should only apply, and you'll know more about this. You've played baseball, and maybe I'm entirely off when I say this. The pitch count should only apply to like the next game. So like if you are over the pitch count, the next game you don't get to play in. But in the middle of the game, why would you pull the kid? Or you can't enter the game within 20 pitches of the pitch count or something.
Aren't you supposed to get pulled out? I mean, I guess technically that would just be a coach thing, but like you should get pulled at 120. There shouldn't be like the opposing coach shouldn't be in the bullpen in the dugout watching and being like, oh, that's 121. Get this 13-year-old out
They
here.
have that clicker. Like they should know.
They should know.
Yeah,
doing that. But also, like if they just miscounted and somebody else is keeping count, then
that's why I don't think it should apply in game.
Yeah.
It should only, like last year I think in the state tournament, or maybe like leading up to the state tournament, Powell got in trouble for pitching a kid who was not supposed to because of pitch count. There was questions though about last game. I guess they didn't get in trouble. There was like an investigation, quote unquote. I mean, TSLA doesn't do anything, so not a real investigation. But the other team originally signed off. They agreed on the amount of pitches. Later, they said no, he pitched this amount, and he shouldn't have been eligible for the next game, or whatever however it worked out. And so he did get to pitch. But yeah, it's just so I just don't think it should affect you. So the number's 120 within how many days?
I think that's a game.
He threw 120 pitches in a game?
I would assume so, yeah. I mean,
he
threw
then,
it. Well, no.
Then my stance is a little bit different.
Well, yeah, that's also what I would have. But wait, you said he had a no hitter with 16 strikeouts?
Ks, yeah.
I mean, I don't know how he gets up to 120 in are these 9-inning games?
I think there's 7.
There's no way he got to 120 in a 7-inning game throwing 16 strikeouts.
A certain amount of days. I don't know.
I think it's within days. Yeah.
Also, I think when did this pitch count thing become a thing? Because when I was in high school, it was just like
it was implemented by travel ball essentially. All these kids going and playing weekends and yeah, like it resulted from the travel ball era, which I know was big when we were younger, but it wasn't what it is now. It was getting that way.
Yeah.
So. No, I don't know. If it's 120 a game and he threw 120, I retract everything I just said. But if it's over 2 or 3 days,
it's still stupid to end a season for a team because he went one over.
Yeah, especially
you can pitch 120, but don't you dare pitch 121.
Yeah, I don't know how to best handle that, but I don't disagree that it's dumb. But I don't know how to better I don't know what the right answer is.
Yeah.
Do you make him sit an extra day instead of making the team forfeit? Because it's like you said, it's the coach's fault.
Yeah, I'm sure that other team was just like, we can't wait to get this game over
He's-
with. Why
he's
would
at
you
one-
want to stop it and put another kid in for one pitch?
He's at 1-8. No, he's at 118, and that coach in the dugout's like, "Oh, they're not even warming a guy up yet. Like, we're gonna win this ball game."
Oh, yeah. He was like, don't you dare swing.
Battle at the plate. Everyone, you go earn 7 pitches minimum. Get out there.
Take one ball, please.
I got a stupidity, and it definitely is a stupidity, but not for us. All right, it's definitely a major W for the program. Jackson Mahomes got arrested. All right, get your suits on. It's the downfall of Jackson Mahomes.
Enemy number
Cinco de
one.
Mayo's tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, it couldn't have come at a more perfect time. Summer's ramping up.
In Utah.
Yeah, maybe. So, I mean, on a serious note, whatever. But yeah,
What did he do? It was $100,000 bond. What in the world did he do?
he had that.
He was groping.
Yeah, he like forcefully made out. But yeah.
Was that $100?
Yeah.
I mean, domestic violence people get out like the next day, $100.
Well, and
I'm
he's like a
confused.
fruity TikTok kind of guy. I feel like that was the vibe he was going for
Yeah,
there.
that's probably
but-
wasn't his first offense.
No, for sure not. Good for the girl for getting her money up, though. I like that. Or I guess I don't know. I guess maybe she doesn't. She should just sued him. That'd have been the cool.
She
move,
will.
But,
Should have sued his brother.
dude, poor
I'm
Patrick
sure that's
Mahomes.
who pointed him out.
Between his wife and his brother, I mean, that dude
Someone
really did
told him
deserve
to
the
shut
Super
up.
Bowl.
Someone told him to shut up this year.
He did for sure.
Yeah.
He just
had to
couldn't
have
keep
a-
his
a
hands
heart
to
to heart.
himself.
Did I saw funny's not the right word. It's just some of these reporters are. I'm like, what are you doing? As he's getting like brought out of the jail, one of the reporters is like, "Do you have something to say to the victims?" I was like,
Yeah, first of all,
Do
there's
they
one
wanna hear-
victim.
do they want to hear? Do they want it? No, I think there's like 2, 3.
Oh, really?
I think I think at that same restaurant too. From what I've read,
Man was
but
grabbing everything.
yeah, I don't know if he did the same thing to all the victims. I don't know what all the charges are, but I think there were multiple women. I'm just like the victims probably don't want to hear from him. Number one, also, this guy's brother's very wealthy. They hired a good lawyer. He told him not to talk. What are you doing? Do you think he's going to say something to you? As he
Did you
hides
hear
his
the
face?
other reporter? He was like, "If you were actually black, you'd have been arrested earlier." Someone's like,
Oh, yeah.
"Who says that? That came out of
That was-
left field." It's like subtly throwing a personal insult / like I don't know what that was.
Yeah. I did
I
hear
know.
that. That was very. Yeah, the guy put him in the car was just like,
Why would a reporter
"Stop,
yell
get
that
this
to you?
guy some help."
Good night. That's all right. Wait, one more. Brad Bohannon. Brad, right? Said it so many times it doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
Coach Bo from Alabama. I mean, that news comes out. Also, dude was sweating that bet. I mean, his team did not throw that game. I don't know how he coached, but his team did not throw that game. He was sweating that bet larger than normal. I also don't know what that means. Some people said the largest you can place on college baseball in Vegas is $1,000. So also, if you were getting, less than $1,000 wins for your job, what are you doing? I don't know how much he's paid. I'm going to assume decent
Yeah.
for a college baseball coach.
He's probably making more than $1,000. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems to be probably because it said they used his phone records. I just don't know if they could have subpoenaed those fast enough. So probably
Well, apparently
a school
this
issue
isn't his
phone.
first offense, but also now that he's done that, now you have to go back and
His first offense gambling, like that, doing that,
yeah.
and he was coaching college baseball.
No, like this, like
Oh,
I
they
think
just caught him again. Like they caught him. They found out it was more than once. Okay,
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
So now you have to go back and watch, go back to every game through his phone records and try to link it to wagers to see if.
Vols probably won the money last year. Good for him.
I mean, I'm sure Zane Denton is thinking he already thought he made the right decision, but he's definitely thinking it now.
So I think any athlete should be able to be allowed to place money line bets on their team, and they should be allowed to gamble, and that's the only way. You can walk in to a sports book and say, I play for Tennessee. Tennessee Vols are going to beat Alabama today. I think that should be the only way you can bet.
I don't understand why they can't bet on like the NBA. Like that doesn't make any sense to me.
I kind of get it but I also think it's funny that they're just owning up to that gambling is super addicting. They're like, yeah, if you start doing this,
You'll get into
it's probably going to lead to that. Yeah, it's a gateway
fair.
drug. Betting
I
on
did
other sports
that.
is a gateway drug.
I did that.
Yeah, I mean, for like first, it starts with women's tennis in Bulgaria, and soon enough, they're trying to hedge their winnings or hedge their losses with, games of their own. So I kind of get it. I think some of the rules are dumb. Like I think it was Virginia Tech a couple years ago had some baseball players get in trouble for accepting money after winning a fantasy football league. Like that's
dumb.
That's dumb. That's not gambling.
Also fell on that guy because the odds are like minus 245. I mean, how much you really win? If you can only do $1,000, I'm not great at math.
They said it was a hefty bet though. That's what I don't understand. Is $1,000 hefty to a sports book? Like, should that raise red flags?
No, I don't think so either.
I won a lot of money on Tennessee baseball last year.
But also, like, you're cutting your winnings and
and you're splitting them clearly. You have a guy there, and you're on the phone with him while he's at the stall placing the bet. I mean, this could not be dumber. I mean, there's so many people I've wanted to name the Stupidity Award after. I think it's officially the Brad Bohannon Stupidity Award. I mean, this is truly the dumbest I got caught I've ever heard.
Well, and it had to be like, I mean, it was like immediate. They fired him. Like they didn't even have to really investigate it.
Maybe he's just not a good. They got him in the room, and he was like, "All right, I did it."
Yeah,
he's a snitch. He sold everybody out.
But man, Jermaine Burton to the Nate Oates handling of the shooting with what was that guy's name?
I mean, it wasn't. I mean, Brandon Miller didn't do the shooting, but he was involved.
Yeah. Right. And now this, man.
You skipped. You had another player before he was officially on the team, but he was a commit and he was in Tuscaloosa. Get arrested with
Tony
a gun.
Mitchell. Yeah.
No, that was a football player. He was on campus. He was an early enrollee.
Tony Mitchell.
Yes, there was a basketball player that was committed, transfer. I don't know his name, and he got arrested in Tuscaloosa with a weapon.
Nice.
And then you had their deputy athletic director. He was something under the AD, get arrested for domestic violence.
Nice. So I mean, they're just rolling in it. They're killing it.
Yeah, and their PR is just atrocious. I told you today, I think it was today, maybe yesterday, that they are, I mean, Tennessee 2009 to 2021 levels of bad PR. It's incredible.
Well, didn't the AD said amongst other things?
And then he said pending review. I'm like, you already fired the guy. You got reasons. Air it out, baby.
Yeah, let's get all the juice.
And I want to go on the record because I consider myself to be of good character and morals. Nick Saban is not an innocent party in all this. And I think the only answer is, I don't know the name of it, but there's a maximum security prison in Colorado. I know the Unabomber was there at one point. I think Ted Bundy might have been there. I think that is the only suitable place for someone like him. And he should be sent there immediately. No questions asked. A jury of your peers. Bye, Nick Saban. You're going there.
Yeah, I'm down. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, good. Glad we're all on the same page. Also, let's move the venue if it is a jury of your peers. Knoxville, Tennessee.
Yes.
Yep.
Let's try them here.
Joe, you got another one?
No.
I got two more, and I can go through them real quick. So, my next one is going to be the Cowboys. Did you watch the Jalen Hyatt video that came out, like the NFL Films did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cowboys, what are you doing? They're like, you know your skill set. He's like, what is it? He's like, oh, you know, speed. I mean, like, and then you let the Giants take him after that workout. Like, you're.
I hope he makes some pay.
Yeah, like the
Notre
Dame of the NFL, the Cowboys, and
I don't know how to take it. I don't know if he had it. Like, I don't know who that guy was. Did he have any kind of relationship with him other than scouting?
I don't think so. No.
Because like people were like, I mean, that's just what coaches say, and I was like, yeah, to players they know, not to someone they're trying to get on their team,
right?
Or may want on their team. It was just very weird. I was like, yeah, if there's a video of Kelsey Pope saying that to him, that because like I don't have really a huge problem with it. I mean, I think it was weird and unprofessional, but it's not a big deal. But it's like because if it's your coach saying that to you, they're probably just like giving you a hard time about it. It's not.
I mean,
it's just very weird for a scout.
he
to say
basically
that.
said he's a one-trick pony, and like he got the Bolitnikoff, and it wasn't like the only thing he caught was deep balls. And like again, it's kind of used against him that he was open, but like
post
what else
post
do
the
you
picture.
want?
Post the picture of the Alabama touchdown and put the Cowboys under the. I can't remember which Alabama players laying on the ground.
Oh, is that?
And then it's obviously Jalen Hyatt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that guy did us a service because Jalen Hyatt on the Cowboys would suck.
Yeah,
nobody would,
especially
watch
for
that.
you.
Yeah, I mean, just set him up for failure, I guess. I don't know how much better the Giants is, but at least Danny Dimes is. Who knows?
More likable than Jerry Jones.
Certainly, maybe Jalen Hyatt can
He's a
turn
better Jones.
Danny Dimes' career around. Yeah.
Okay, I like that. I also have one more, and it's dude, I saw this girl during the Vanderbilt series, and I should have said anything. I don't know what I would have said anyway. But she's the one that she covers Vanderbilt and said it was the NFL Rookie Watch said several NFL scouts reportedly believe Anthony Richard paved the way for Joe Milton to potentially be a high selection in next year's NFL draft. She says some of y'all were not contractually obligated to watch every snap of Michigan's 2020 season, and it shows. I think she was trying to be funny, but like 2020 is an asterisk, okay, for everything. I mean, I would have rather had freaking Joe Milton in 2020 than JG in 2020.
Yeah, someone posted on Reddit today. Maybe this is a good question to ask. We'll do it on Sunday. Remind me. But essentially, like, who is your? I can't remember. It was like your underrated player that like only diehard fans will remember. And someone posted Jarrett Garantano, and I was like, I'm sorry, it's more important issues after dark. Kids, turn this off. I just replied, shut the fuck up. I was like, no, you ruined my day. And someone was like, I don't know why people hate him. And I was like, I have no feelings towards the guy personally. But as a football player and as a Tennessee football player, he ruined many a Saturdays. And because I care way too much and I don't want to, he ruined many just days and weeks of my life. And I know it wasn't all his fault, but he was a crucial part of it.
Yeah.
Hope the best for him as a person, but please never put on orange again.
I love your reply.
That is it's pretty frank, straight to the point.
I apologize. I said, I'm sorry. I blacked out in anger when I saw his name, but like, yeah, you had to hear it. You said it. You had to hear it. And I was allowed to mention that story because Landon already mentioned him today. So I'm good. I'm in the clear. I didn't do it.
Yeah. Also, like, he looked great against Vanderbilt. Did we win 50-0 or something like that?
I don't remember. I really just don't remember those days. Oh, Joe Milton?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure. I guess she probably didn't go to that game. Why would you go to any football games at Vanderbilt? You don't need to cover it. They lost. Update.
Also, 2020, like.
Actually, they did beat Anthony Richardson, by the way.
Good for them.
It was one of the best field stormings I've probably ever seen in my life.
We should have to watch that instead of the Michigan 2020 season. Also, like, have some sympathy. Like, it's 2020, okay?
Yes. Yeah, it's a hard time.
People are still working through that.
COVID's still a thing, guys.
Yeah,
I will
mask up.
I will
It
piggyback
is.
off Caleb
People
really
are
quick.
still testing for it. Why?
I'll piggyback off
we
Caleb
should
really
probably
quick with that Stupidity is an epidemic. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, your career or your program is now plagued because Jeremy Banks is on your program, and I mean that's the downfall of the Bucs. If it wasn't, everyone's gonna say it was Tom Brady retiring. No, it was you signing Jeremy Banks. So watch how this plays out. We'll clip it. We'll come back to it in 3 or 4 years. That's just that's the hard truth.
I like it. We're going to keep this one under 2 hours, guys. I think that's a great place to sign off. We appreciate y'all listening. Appreciate Ben Mckee hopping on.
Yeah, guys, have a good weekend, and go Vols. Georgia sucks. We're bringing the boat in, and we out.